Welcome to Wholesale Hotline. I'm Brent Daniels.
I'm Jamil Damji.
And I'm Jerry Norton.
And I'm Pace Morby.
Every week we bring you the best information on real estate investing.
Be sure to participate in the comments.
And subscribe.
Enjoy the show!
So thank you so much for calling Wholesale Hotline.
Wow, that's great.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 261. That was pretty close.
That's right. Go, Bo! What a
Bo's
stud.
turning 8 on Saturday. He won his flag football tournament this past Saturday. So he's had a big week.
Hey, Bo.
Congratulations, Bo. We're proud of you, bro.
Hi.
What's up? You're awesome, dude. You're number one, just like your shirt says.
That's right. Devin Booker.
Kevin Booker.
All right, get out of here.
Ask your dad why he has season tickets if he doesn't even know who the players are.
Well, he screws with me because he calls him LeBron Booker, and it's like, no, that's not his name.
LeBron Booker Kobe.
Yeah, get out of here. All right. What up, Jamil? What up, Pace?
How you doing?
What do we have here?
We have one of my good friends, Heather Blankenship. I love her so much. I asked her to come into the show today. She's speaking in Scottsdale. She spoke for Level Up Your Listing. Shout out to those girls. They do such a great job with the aesthetics of their event. The flow of their event's a great event. She came out, spoke for them. She's going to do a podcast with my wife, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Where are you guys doing it? My house? My studio?
No, I actually have Ben set up in my room.
Oh, Ben. Okay, cool. Yeah. Ben is unbelievable. Shout out Ben Walls. Heather Blankenship, the queen of RV parks. I have a confession to make to you. So today I was short on cash. Okay.
Where this is going.
I was short on cash. I had a loan I had to do. Actually, okay, so Ingrid, who's in the audience. Matt, do you have an angle for the audience today or no? No. Okay, sounds like no. Ingrid Hernandez, I love you. I appreciate you. Ingrid Hernandez and I were going toe-to-toe in a competition last month. Okay, so once a month I get together for like 4 days and I try and keep myself really sharp on closing deals. And so we do this thing for 4 days out of the month, 3 hours each day. And for the longest time, like 5 or 6 months, I was just doing this challenge on my own. I had newbies set appointments for me. I would close the deals. And this last month I said, all right, I want to go toe-to-toe with Jamil. And I want to go toe-to-toe with Ingrid Hernandez. So we did a round robin. So a lead would come to Ingrid, she'd make a call, and so on and so forth around the room. My first call, do you remember this? Got a loan. Okay, so it was a real estate agent. He's like, well, no, this listing that you're lowballing me on, I don't want to sell it to you. And I was like, well, cool. How else can we make money together? That's my question all the time. Like, how else can we make money together? Your listing is not what the main reason I called you. The main reason I called you is because you're an active agent and I want to do business with active agents. So what else you got? And he's like, well, I'm flipping houses. So we end up giving him a loan on one of his flips, right? Because I'm a lender as well. So this morning, that deal actually is closing. And my team's like, we have no money in the bank account. I'm like, oh, shiz. Okay, so what am I going to do? You know what I did?
You called Ingrid.
No. This is great. You're going to love this because this is why I'm bringing this story up because of you.
Oh, okay.
I go, well, what accounts do we have money in? And my team's like, the RV parks. Okay, so just to point this out, in my single family rentals, I am always fearful of pulling cash out of my single family rental, like war chests.
Yeah.
Because a pool could go bad, a thing could go bad, and like the amount of cash.
The whole account is gone.
Bro, like
all year's worth of income.
All like a whole year or 2 years worth of income goes away in a roof repair, right?
Yep.
In my RV parks, I'm like sitting on one of them. You've been to both of them, I think.
Yep.
And one of them, I have $180,000 just sitting in the account. I'm like, what are we doing with this money? And the team's like, well, we were going to use it for emergencies, but there just doesn't seem to ever there's right.
Yeah.
So the money just keeps growing. I was like, pull the money out of the account and put it in the lending business. What are we doing? And that was today.
It's crazy because people don't realize that RV parks are like this perfect mix between cash flow and appreciation, which clearly you learned today.
And depreciation.
The cost tags, because people are like, there's nothing to cost tag.
I was wrong about that.
You're totally wrong. There's more than like a multifamily.
There
property
was
cost
more
tag.
than a multifamily deal, and I had to like pay attention.
What are you guys? You're speaking Arabic right now.
Okay. We'll tap into it. We'll tap into it for everybody. Guys, we got my friend Heather Blankenship. We love her. And your husband is a cool dude too. We like him too.
We like him too.
And you guys are just having the happiest time in your life. You got amazing children. I know you've recently had a loss. I'm so sorry to hear about that. It's a tough one, but we love you. Just want to let you know.
It's hard. I think miscarriages are never easy.
Yeah.
I have 5 kids and I had 2 back-to-back, 10 months apart. And I got pregnant immediately again. So I would have had 3 babies in 24 months. Like, as much as it's hard, it's probably a blessing. We are getting our butts kicked with no sleep, chasing babies. And again, in that moment,
you have 2 in diapers right now?
2 in diapers, 2 with bottles. Like, you know how this goes.
Did you ever have 2 in diapers?
No.
Okay.
You get your butt kicked, 2 not sleeping. Like, we need the break. So as much as it was really, really hard, it's a gift from God, I believe.
Well, I think the gift is your personality of like finding the silver lining, right? Because a lot of people would let it wreck them. So kudos to you.
Thanks.
But Heather is my good friend. We love her. She spent a couple of days, maybe a whole week with us in Montana this last year. It was incredible. And she came and gave me feedback on my RV parks. I would have never gotten into RV parks if it wasn't for Heather. So it is the weirdest asset because I don't want to buy a stupid RV park. I want tax benefits. I can't get tax benefits by buying dirt because that's essentially what you're doing when you buy RV parks. And somebody asked me the other day, so what do you do? And I go, I rent dirt.
Okay, so that's because you don't have to run operations.
Yeah,
you have this
does
amazing team, right? So you don't get to think about that. Because when I was 26, I was driving across the country thinking the same thing. I'm like, it's just renting parking spots. So I start searching and I buy this first RV park. And I'm like, dude, that would have been if I bought a parking garage. Because that is renting parking spots, right?
Yeah.
That you just take their money, they go park, and then they leave. But the operations are pretty extreme.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
I literally have no clue. We just bought 2 more RV parks. I'm so disconnected from it at like zero.
But you get the benefit of the cash flow and the depreciation, which you need.
Yeah. The cash flow is crazy. So like, here's what's cool about RV parks and why we're going to talk about them today. Talk about different asset types because you've done other asset types.
Yes, I have mobile home parks, Section 8 multifamily.
Okay, let's jump into all of it. Okay,
yeah,
we'll talk about all of it today. So this RV park today, I've owned that park that you went and visited last year. I've owned it now going on 18 months.
Okay.
I take a draw from it. I think I take like a $7,000 a month draw from it, which is kind of nice. Personally, yeah. Like I take home $7,000.
Dude, and let's talk about that. One property that you don't even pay attention to is more than the average person's salary. And you still have $180,000 in the account.
Yeah. And that one that you went to is I bought for $5 million. I bought it on seller finance, 4% interest. And I put 5% down, $250,000 that I brought from one of my students. So I'm into the deal, no money out of pocket. And I net $7,000 a month in my pocket. And I don't even pay attention to the account, but I asked my team, I was like, we got to have money somewhere. We have like 100 LLCs. There's got to be money somewhere. The only place we have money we feel comfortable is the RV. I'm like, there's no way we have enough money. And they're like, well, we have 180 in here and we have $215,000 in this account. I'm like, what are we doing? Why is there so much cash?
In their defense, I can't remember what the utilities are. If you buy a park that has like a wastewater treatment plant or a lift station, like some of those crazy utility things,
so you're worried about replacing a whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can be like lose your butt.
Okay. So some of those things you want to have a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But I don't know that I don't think your parks have those.
They don't. Yeah. They don't.
What's the difference between an RV park and a mobile home park?
I'm glad you asked.
I'm here to just ask random questions and let you guys talk.
Okay, I love it.
Conception, right? Because even when you go to some bigger conferences, like Bigger Pockets, and they have these like buttons they want you to wear as like your badge, they mix RV parks and mobile home parks together. And
like it's the same thing.
Like it's the same thing. And they could not be more different. While they are like both fruit, they're like apples and oranges.
It's kind of like the difference between Whataburger and In-N-Out Burger.
So the mobile home parks are truly
I said that for you,
housing.
Andrew.
Yeah, the mobile home parks are truly affordable housing. They're people who are living there because they need affordable housing.
Yeah.
RV parks, like we're talking about, are people on vacation. and they're expecting this like outdoor hospitality experience.
Is it seasonal?
Depends on where your park
Yes,
is.
my park in Montana is very seasonal. The advantage that we have here now, again, I'm not the RV park expert, but I have recently got into the game, and I actually had Heather, and she was gracious enough to travel 3,000 miles to come and critique my
In a van.
while
with a
you're
3-week-old baby.
Yeah, you just had a baby.
Yeah.
But at least you had a place for her to park.
Yeah. Did you park in my RV park?
No, I drove the van instead.
Oh, okay.
Okay, got it. So where'd you stay? An Airbnb? We put you up
did.
somewhere?
No.
You paid for it?
I paid for an Airbnb.
Wow,
We
you're
stayed in a
you're
camper
rich,
at an
dude. You're so
Airbnb.
rich. Okay, so this RV park, basically for me, Brent, the challenge I have, and I'd love to get your feedback on this. So it goes dormant basically 5 months out of the year.
Got it.
The thing that feeds both of my RV parks is Kalispell, Glacier National Park, Whitefish Ski Resort, and it's very seasonal. So I'd say in those 5 months, it has a 30% occupancy. In the other 7 months, it has 130% occupancy.
Yeah, sure.
People would be like, I'll park on the grass. I do not care. I need a spot.
Yeah.
So we make all of our money primarily in, let's shave off the shoulder season on those 7 months. I say 4 months out of the year, I make all my money for the whole year.
Yeah.
And so my team, I think we just haven't been used to the cash flow on an asset long enough to know the seasonality.
Yep.
So Molly told me, you know Molly.
Yep.
So gosh, I do have a great team, don't I?
You have we just talked about this. You have a freaking amazing team.
My team is insane.
They're like
Okay.
the best people.
I haven't even talked to Molly in a month. And so I talked to her, I call her up, I'm like, where do we have money? She's like, oh, the RV parks. I go, why don't we have money?
Nice to hear from you. I haven't,
Basically,
haven't
yeah.
heard from you in a month.
Basically. So she said, I go, cash in there. She goes, well, we were worried about the seasonality,
Right.
Yep.
but now we're heading into the summer again and we have all this cash, which means
We also usually take in reservations
yeah,
before then. So the cat, even though they're like,
it's a
Wow.
wonderful,
Deposits.
Yeah.
wonderful
Yeah, yeah,
Ponzi
yeah.
scheme. It's the greatest Ponzi
Yeah.
scheme on the planet.
so you're getting the cash ahead of time.
Yeah,
and
you're getting paid like a year before people even show up.
It's like
Yeah.
paying somebody to take you out into the middle of the desert and then just disappearing
Yes.
and not taking them out into the middle of the desert, right, Jamil?
Well, it's happened, and I know how that feels. So yes.
So RV parks, I've really loved them, but we were thinking about mixing mobile home parks and RV parks together, but not like mobile home parks from like the what you picture,
Yeah.
but get some. I'm buying. How long are you gonna be in town?
I leave Wednesday.
Okay, sadly I won't be able to show you, but I just became a partner on a modular home factory here locally.
Oh, okay. That's interesting mix.
Yeah, and what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to take them. They're steel tube manufactured and they're 2-story, just beautiful things. They're very modern looking. And I want to go put 10 of them on my RV park, the one that you saw.
Okay. So I know Kalispell can be picky. How are they going to do on
I haven't gone there yet,
permitting?
Heather.
Yeah, that'd be my first question. Like, are they going to let you?
Somebody on my team will figure that out.
Okay.
But let's assume the permitting thing works out because you always have great questions. Do you think it's a good idea to have some permanent residents on an RV spot that's no, gosh damn it.
No.
Okay, why? Why?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk it through. So there's a couple things. If you used those modular homes in season,
Mhm.
you will take in more money in those 4 months than you would all 12 months for somebody who's long term. And you have way more cash flow, less abuse,
Mhm.
and the ability to have the down season for your property.
So you're telling me to just be okay looking at empty spots during the winter.
We got to remember, this isn't a single family home. You didn't pay a price per square foot. You bought on the NOI, and the NOI is based on those 4 months.
Okay, what's NOI for wholesalers? They don't know.
Oh, net operating income. So we're talking about commercial real estate. So we're buying these on cap rates and based
They don't know what cap rate is either.
your rate of return. So you're buying it. So you're
Which is
buying
great.
it based on the cash flow.
Yeah.
And the cash flow is accounted for 4 months. So when you bought it, it was included in the price you got. It was a good price.
But I want to make more money.
Okay, you're more money. Your team and I talked about this. I had lunch with your 2
Heidi.
amazing team members,
Heidi and
Bo.
Bo.
Heidi
Yeah.
and Bo. And we kind of did a short SWOT analysis on the park. You have this amazing road frontage with a crazy shitty sign. And you have the road frontage. And you also have nowhere to eat there.
Yeah.
So all the people who are driving up to the national park, right? They're driving through there. They're driving through and they're seeing your property. So you need a great advertisement for like, here we are, you should stay here. And you can buy firewood here. You can buy ice here. All of the stuff that you need. You can buy your
Are you
restaurant.
telling me I should have more restaurants? Should I start a restaurant in my laundromat?
Your laundromat is also another amazing
Can
cash
you get
flow.
a food truck?
Food truck, yes.
Should I
And I
buy
literally
one
told
or
them-
should I arbitrage somebody else's food truck?
I would start with the arbitrage
Okay.
and see how it works. This is literally what I told them.
So I should wholesale.
Even if you don't make any money on it, and see if it works. And then once it works, be like, okay, where's my food truck?
Okay, got it.
But you need this great sign because you have the road frontage.
Here's the problem. Okay. So when we bought it, I bought it with no money out of pocket, right? Creative finance, all the things, right? So I'm no money into the deal. So we get this quote on getting this unbelievable sign. And it was like 70 grand. My team's like, we'll just save up for it. We make enough cash flow. We'll save up for this sign. I was like, sure. Some idiot's going to probably use that money for a loan at some point. So I took all the money they were planning on buying a sign with. I just deployed it on a loan. So I have no more money for a sign. But the sign, I will work on that.
Okay. So to tell you a story about the sign, when I bought my first RV park, I was pregnant with this one. So 14 years ago.
You're to blame for the story.
Yeah. I thought I needed an amazing sign because it's in an area with a national park.
Mm-hmm.
And so people drive by it and I'm like, I need this like Mac Daddy sign. Remember, this is 14 years ago. It was $35,000. I thought I was going to die.
Mm-hmm.
But we keep track. You have software. You have good software.
Somebody thinks so. I don't know.
Yep. And so you keep track of where people heard about you. So you know what's bringing your business in. And the amount of times people say, I saw your sign, beyond makes up for that cost. I know it sucks to give up the cash. Get somebody to Subto you a sign or like somebody to sell or finance
Challenge
a sign.
accepted. I'm only going to be in Montana this year 60 days. So challenge accepted. I'll go get a
you
sign.
need a creative finance sign because it more than makes up for the money.
Okay.
Especially with that road.
I'll have to text you as I'm going through sign things. Cause in my mind, it's, got to be like a retro cool looking thing. I'll text you about.
Well, you've got this weird old camper thing up there
It's
to
so
begin
bad.
with.
Yeah.
But going off of that is kind of cool. Like,
Yeah.
let's just make it better.
Okay, cool.
So how many spots do you have?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I think we have about 80 spots. And then
Wait, what'd you do with the self-storage?
we kept it for somebody took all the money to put it into a loan. So we had no. So we have 40 self-storage units on this property, and I also have 20 cabins. What we did find out this year on our cabins is that if we took those cabins out and we just put more spots, we'd make way more money.
Are the cabins full service?
I don't know what that means.
Bathrooms, kitchens?
No.
That's why. So you got to, if you were to put in cabins, tiny homes, like you're manufacturing, that have full service, like a hotel,
they'd make a bunch of money.
They think they're having this unique experience, and you can rent those suckers for $400, $500, $600 a night, and it's insane.
Do you have much dry camping on your RV parks?
So dry camping brings in a really unique customer.
Are they the worst kind?
Right, dry camping pace. Isn't that what you guys did as a kid in Utah?
No, that's dry humping.
Oh, my apologies.
Invented by the Canadians, just FYI. Okay, I just want to let you know, our brothers from the north. So is that a bad client? We don't want those kind of clients?
It is, unless you come up with like your upscale version of it. You can have it to where
like glamping type of thing.
Kind of, but you need to have like a pet. You know, when it rains and you're camping and you're sitting in the mud, you need to have like a platform that's built up for them to put on, like an amazing grill. You know, you've got this really neat picnic area that maybe has a covering over it of some sort. So you've created this like premium campsite, so people will pay you that higher rate. So you get the like dry camping customer you want. It's just the family that wants that experience, as opposed to the person who doesn't have somewhere to live and now they're living in their tent at your property.
Okay, so
wait, what is dry camping? I'm sorry, I'm still confused.
Just tents.
Oh, okay.
I mean, here's the thing in the RV world, anything that's dry means you can't flush your poop.
Okay, and
hookups. I need hookups.
Real quick, when you guys, and I've always wanted to ask somebody who had an RV park this question. I'm sorry, it's probably off. I mean, anyhow,
Jamil, I give you a book on this.
Where does all the poo go? Do you guys store it? Does it go into the city sewer? Like, where does what happens to the poo?
Was that in the book?
It was in the book, Jamil.
Is it in the book? There's a chapter in your book? In case you were wondering, this is where the poo
I
goes.
should have named it that, but we didn't.
Everybody poops.
That should have been the name of the section of the book.
Okay, so RV parks. Let's address our audience, primarily wholesalers trying to get into the game.
Okay.
Something I learned about RV parks this year, because we just bought 2 more. I bought one in Kermit, Texas, and I bought one in Austin, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to try and go to like 50.
Okay.
And maybe by the time I hit 50, I'll know a thing or two about them.
Okay.
But if I'm a wholesaler, I just learned something new. There's only 15,000 RV parks in the country.
Right. It's not as many. Your buy box is going to be definitely different.
So people that are like, I want to wholesale RV parks, there's just way less opportunities.
There is.
If I want to go buy an RV park,
there's actually a wholesaler from your group that I get deals from every day.
Yeah, Michelle Bassan, probably.
Not Michelle. His name's John. He's Asian.
John, probably.
Asian man.
Yeah, John Her. Yeah. Yeah. He's Asian. Asian AF. Okay. So you've got. We do a lot of wholesale. In our community, we have a lot of wholesalers that are wholesaling, like seller finance, RV parks, etc. But I just don't see it as I could just wholesale. You can't go out and teach people to go wholesale RV parks. I just don't think there's enough opportunities to do that.
I also think cold calling RV park owners is a longer game.
Yeah.
Because you're not calling like this
distressed
list of people.
person.
Yeah, a distressed list of people like you usually teach with Subto and things like that.
Yeah.
So I have people that we've been cold calling and sending mail outs to that call me like 3 years later. Right. The pipe, you teach people about marketing and all the things go in the funnel and they pop out the bottom at a different time. I feel like RV parks take a lot longer for those things to pop out.
What would you say
bottom.
is the average? What's your average conversion cycle right now with your type of marketing? You do PPC.
Yeah. PPC, like any inbound, PPC's 32 days.
Wouldn't that be crazy if you could do that with
crazy.
RV parks?
Dude,
direct mail's longer though. Direct mail's like 62 days.
What kind of people are you calling distressed people?
Well, I have
high equity.
That's how I built my whole business. But now I just do pay-per-click, TV, and direct mail.
But what are you targeting? Like, what's your? Because pay-per-click, right? You have a thing. You're
pay-per-click is search terms,
right? You want them to search what?
Sell my house fast.
Companies that buy houses, cash purchase for my house.
So people who are
inherited my house. What to do now? Like those type of things.
Yeah. And I think you don't see that as much in commercial real estate is why it's a little harder. And they're not like on the MLS either, right? So you're not calling like expired listings and having that same kind of train of thought. But I think if you get really dialed in to your mail outs and your cold calling, it will take longer to get the funnel going. Yeah. But then you will be like the only one doing it, right?
Here's my thought on it. And this is why it's very important. If your avatar is, I need money today,
it's not going to work.
I would not suggest jumping into wholesaling RV parks.
Right.
If I'm like, I need money today, Brent's conversion cycle of 30 days on PPC and 60 days on direct mail.
See, that's like unheard of.
Look at his arms. You know what I'm saying? Like the guy can close a deal.
He fed me some beef jerky when I got here.
Of course. He has it in his pocket ready to go at all times.
That's it.
So
protein everywhere.
If you're somebody,
that's the key.
If I'm deciding I want to get into business and I want to make money now. Like I'm not willing to put in the work to maybe see a deal in 6 months or 9 months or 12 months. Maybe in a lot of ways in the RV park, mobile home park, multifamily space, a lot of deals my team gets under contract will fall apart. Like we have a title issue right now on an RV park we've had under contract. We were supposed to close in November. The title issue's going on and delaying. I'm like, man, if I was a new person relying on this thing, I would have given up on this deal a long time ago.
Well, even with what Jamil was talking about with where does the poop go? When you start doing the inspections for the well and the septic and the wastewater treatment plant and whatever it is, like it's not a standard like, oh, I've got 5 or 10 days to inspect. People are doing 60 days of due diligence because there's legit stuff to look into. And you need to put out money to do those inspections and things like that. So I agree. It can be, when I teach my students, it's a high barrier to entry for a lot of people.
Okay. So that's
a good thing, right?
I agree.
Is it wealth building?
I mean,
is that the strategy? You know what I mean? Is that the bigger strategy as opposed to because you said right? It's got all parts, right? Yep. It's got cash flow, it's got appreciation, it's got depreciation. It sounds perfect. is it enough cash flow that you can quit your job?
Dude, think about it. Pace takes $7,000 a month from a park he doesn't even know about, and they've still got 150.
And I have 4 people managing it, and they are all getting a salary. Right. So yeah.
Is there like an average? You go, okay, if it has 80 units, you can expect this much in cash flow.
No, because of the question Pace talked about.
Seasonality.
You never know. Like in his area, I have one park that can operate for 10 months. Now we're talking about Pace's park that could operate for 4 months. Yeah. I have students in Alaska. Right, their season is really short, but they're pumping the cash for those short months.
But then, I'm sorry, I'm just coming out of nowhere. I'm listening here, but if it's like short amounts of cash, but you're buying on NOI, then what are you seeing for cap rates? Like what makes a good cap rate for an RV park?
That's a great question. So I know we were talking to people who don't totally understand cap rates, and I think cap rates are bullshit, which is
I do too. I've been saying this for 10 years. I also think NOI is bullshit. Just FYI.
Agreed, because it's usually not right.
Well, it's not right, but also we buy on seller finance, and I'm like, why would I want to know any net income before my debt?
Yes,
I'm getting
you
debt.
Still have to cover the debt.
Yes, so don't and so. Why not use gross operating income? Do not use the word net operating income. Do not ever use the word net when you're talking to a guy who wants to take money home.
Right.
Because in single family, when you tell me net cash flow,
it's
Heather,
net cash flow.
I call it sushi money. I can go spend that on sushi and it doesn't matter. But in commercials, like, yeah, your net operating income
It doesn't include some of your taxes. It doesn't include like your
so
lawyer.
Why even tell me the number?
Yeah. Okay. Let's forget about that part for a moment. Because I feel like we could have a whole soapbox on that, right?
Yeah.
So when we're talking about cap rates for RV parks, they're including things like deferred maintenance and the location that you're in. If you have like a 1,000-site RV park, that's more advantageous for a institutional buyer, right? And they're going to pay better money than Pace and I are going to pay because we need good returns, right? And we have these loans that do not have the same kind of interest rates that they do. And so there's all these things that go into the like art, because it's definitely not a science, of that cap rate. And so you can see RV parks in freaking California and some of these places, they're getting 5% cap rates. For those of y'all who are newbies on this cap rate conversation, the lower the cap rate, the better for the seller. The higher the cap rate, the better for the buyer, which is like the opposite way that you want to think of it. Like, because normally we think of like, ooh, no, I want the opposite of that, but it's not true. And so you can see those 5s because they're in like a killer area. It's an institutional grade park, but there's no meat left on the bone. That's literally like a turnkey property, right? But you could go buy this place that's still cash flowing, like Pace is talking about, and get like a 10 or 12%. And you could add some low hanging fruit. Like, let's actually have some marketing. Maybe they need a website. Hey, let's not just take phone calls and like do online reservations. Some really easy crap. And you get increased occupancy really quick without a lot of capital expenses. Yeah. And so that's why when we're both talking about cap rates are bullshit, because I can spend no money and do these couple things and I've blown it out of the water. But if you would have looked at it, the cap rate looked terrible, which doesn't really make sense in the way we're decision making.
Here's a very simple answer or question that you're asking is, what's the average RV park make? I currently own 4. Yep. And our average net, this is after everything's, by the way, net to me is net in my pocket. My pocket, I imagine it is a net. Mm-hmm. It captures money.
Meaning we paid the payment too.
All the things have been paid. Management, CapEx, vacancy, every little thing, cash reserves, taxes, insurance, everything's been paid. What is left over that is mine is net. Our average RV park is netting like $11,500. That's average. So
per site?
Per park. Yeah.
Per park.
Yeah, that's net after everything.
A month.
A month. So between those 4 parks, I'm making about $50,000 a month.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
That's way better than a house.
Don't tell anybody in single family that. I don't want them I'm chasing you. I don't want them chasing me. So I look at it very simply because
but it's not every month.
It's if you average it out, because remember those people are making reservations.
And I wonder when you structure creative deals, if you take that, hey, I'll pay you in season,
okay, what's
but
cool
not
about
out
that
of season,
is the people
right? Because you could structure it that way too.
The people who are in the industry, like I lease my golf carts because who wants to pay cash for all of those?
Yeah,
they let you do that. You like pay your golf cart lease payments for these months because those are your in season months. So that's pretty standard in our industry.
That's a really good structure for people that are like, well, I don't. Here's the thing that Heather made a comment about. how do I make a determination if I'm a new person? Where should I go? Should I go single family? Should I go to RV parks, mobile home parks? Should I go to land development? Where should I go? I think the first question you got to ask is like, when do you need a paycheck? If you need a paycheck, you better go into single family right now.
Yeah.
Because I know anybody in here that's doing single family, Ingrid, if I put a gun to your leg and I said, you have to get $10,000 this week, could you figure it out? Andrew? Okay.
Because I don't take any money out of my rent.
Okay. Perfect. But you could find $10,000 in a wholesale deal, a connector fee. You could find $10,000 in single family wholesale incredibly quick, right? Hell, I could bird dog for you. You could bird dog for me. Bring me a deal, right? I do this with Jamil. Same thing with Brent. I buy a deal from whatever. So if you need a paycheck like now, RV parks ain't it.
Okay, so what I think is underrated is all these gurus on social media are like financial freedom, and they really push you into like leave your job, buy this cash flowing asset, and you're gonna have all this real estate. And you're like, dude, you make $200 a door like every month. You're gonna be doing that until you freaking die.
Yeah.
Right.
And it goes back into the property.
It does, exactly, because your water heater went out. You need the new roof.
It's
but what
$2,300 to $3,500 a year in just maintenance
you
for a
can
house.
still have this like financial freedom. Ingrid and I talked about this today. Financial freedom means something different for everybody. To you and I, it means freedom of our time. I get to go do whatever I want, whenever I want with my kids, schedule the rest around that. But having that active income from things like wholesaling and all this stuff that you do is underrated because people are so obsessed with this like financial freedom and what that Instagrammably looks like. So what you're talking about is they need to get the RV park, but they need to keep wholesaling and flipping or whatever it is they're doing for their active income until that RV park starts spitting out the cash.
This is what I was venturing into saying. I just spoke to Brent's group in San Diego a couple of days ago, the Joe Homebuyer group. And I told all of them, I said, if I could do anything faster, I would have, while I was wholesaling, my first 2012 to 2018, I was primarily wholesaling. I was doing creative finance, but I wasn't acquiring larger assets until like 2019. If I could have gone back to 2014 and 15 and just gone, I'm going to buy one RV park a year on the side while I'm doing my active income. And I built that up for a couple of years, and I didn't need the income from those RV parks for the first year, the second year, and I accumulated the cash, the reserves. I did the improvements. I improved the cap rate. I did all the things. I would have an extra $10 million in net worth way, way faster. But what I did is I actually got addicted to the active income, and I treated my wholesale business very much like a job. And I did not parse out 15% of my time into holding assets that actually could get you to a financial freedom number, right?
Well, I also think it's not as glamorous, right? Because you see all these people like, I got a closing today, I got a closing today, I got a closing today. And when you're buying multi-million-dollar assets, not you, Pace, but the average person, I have like 4 closings a year. Yeah. Like, and because I'm not as creative as you. I'm using my own money. I'm pulling the cash out of the deals and continuing to buy more and more. My 4 closes a year sound really boring until you start talking about how much cash flow that actually is. You don't get that instant like gratification of like, I got a closing, I got a closing, I got a closing.
I look at it like board games. It's like, what's better, Uno or Monopoly? Which one's better?
Depends on how you play the game.
It depends on who you are, and it depends on what you're into. So all these individual things are just individual games inside of the real estate space. So fixing and flipping, it's a different game. Wholesaling, different game. Bird dogging for somebody, doing Astro Flipping, completely different game. Acquiring single family rentals like Subto seller finance, completely different game. The game that I played for a very long time, which worked incredibly well, and now it's paying off for me, was I acquired 300 single family homes over the course of like 6 years.
Wow.
And I'm now starting to sell. I have a 4-year horizon to basically sell them all off. What am I doing with them?
Buying RV parks.
I'm buying RV parks, and I'm buying multifamily. But why? Is because I bought them. I did not live on the cash flow. You will never hear me on any video say I live off the cash flow for my single family rentals. I've never once said it. I keep that cash in reserves to fix the bulk.
You can also get rid of those a lot quicker if you're in trouble.
That is very true.
Like
this is why the
they're
game
kind of liquid.
Yeah, I go sell that thing.
Yeah,
sell that thing. I'm ready. So what'll happen now is I let those houses appreciate, and I get the tax benefits, and the appreciation are really where I make my money in single family. It's not from cash flow. Now there are some houses I cash flow really well on. Some of my co-living properties, they do really, really well. But what I found also is the amount of time I put into a single family rental was about the same amount of time as I did in acquiring an RV park. and I make literally 12 or 13 times more.
And you're still getting that appreciation in the tax benefits.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just wish there were more RV parks.
There's 15,000 of them.
That's
I
it.
mean, what do you mean?
I mean, bro, there's
You do
15
4 a year.
There's 15,000 single family homes in your zip code.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
difference.
Okay, but if you think of it from another perspective, because the reason I was confused when you said $11,000, like normally we talk about RV parks as like per site. So don't forget.
Yeah, I don't speak that language.
Right? But
I'm not that smart.
Yes, you are. You have 80 houses.
Mhm.
You have 80 houses at that site in Montana, right? So when you think about it, it's only 13,000. Yes, but you got 80 sites, right? So it's the same as having like 80 houses on that one property. So when you think of it from a little bit different perspective, you're getting a lot more.
Yeah.
You just got to keep buying.
You got to keep buying. I was just going to ask her that question. So this modular home company that you went to my factory? Okay. So, our first one's going to come off the line in like 3 weeks. And I'm sitting here going, would Heather ever develop sites? Would you ever go develop a new RV park? Or is that not the game you want to play?
Maybe. Okay. So have you developed anything from scratch?
That's all I did so I opened
besides houses?
No.
Okay. So
mobile homes, but that's
Okay.
same thing. So I did a mobile home development, but outside of that, nothing.
you got to remember holding cost and how long it takes to get through zoning and permitting and all those crazy things is like a legit thing because you're still paying taxes and insurance and all that stuff, right? We're talking 18 months to 2 years. So when everybody asks me, would you develop? If you already own an amazing piece of land, great. But if you don't, you can go buy an RV park. Let's talk about your park in Kalispell. You have those self-storage things that I'm not a huge fan of self-storage. It's not a ton of money.
You and me, homie.
You could get rid of all of those and you could develop out that section of the park.
I think they were going to do that, but somebody took all the money out of the account.
Okay, but you're already cash flowing and making great money. You don't have the holding costs. You already own the property. The other side's already killing it. So now you've got this area you can expand.
Yeah.
So I love buying parks that don't have a ton of sites yet, but enough to cash flow. And then they need to have land left over to develop.
Okay,
right?
so
you're kind of a hybrid.
This is great. So I'm not involved in this deal at all. I teach this thing called the wedge method.
Okay.
Which is bring me a lead, I'll close it, I'll use my credibility, and I'll manage it, and I'll give you 20%.
Okay.
Okay, so I get people in my community just bring me deals like that, right? I teach them how to find them, negotiate. They get it to almost contract stage. I use my credibility to get the contract and close the deal, whatever. We have this deal in Kermit, Texas. It is fully rented out for 3 years from an oil company.
Yeah. Man camp.
Woman camp, Heather, come on. And there's 2 acres next to it. And so my underwriter, Bo, who you've met, is like, I don't care about the main park. I care about the 2 acres next to it so we can expand.
Yes.
The problem is there's a title issue on the thing. So this goes back to the thing. Like if you're trying to get money today, my friends, by the way, will you open up the comments so I can see the comments? I want to know, like, are you guys more, Matt, will you click on the comments thing on the side, or maybe Brent, you can do it on the laptop. We can't see. Oh yes. Perfect. Thank you. Oh, it's right here. Okay, cool. So are you guys are you in a today money situation, or are you in a situation where you're like, if I bought one RV park every 18 months, I'd be okay? Because if you're in that situation, you might also be okay developing. But I agree with you. Buy an underperforming asset with land next to it and do development on that. Why? Because your point is so great. You're already making money on this.
And the property is already zoned correctly.
Yeah.
And that's like a huge part of your obstacle. In theory, your utilities are already in place. You just need to expand them. And so is your zoning and permitting. So it's so much easier to get an expansion than it is to start from scratch, rezone, get your plans approved. You're already getting that cash flow.
What do you want to see from a wholesaler that sends you a deal, an RV park? Because I know, look, we get multifamily people on here. Like Ken McElroy came on here and he's like, you wholesalers send me shit. What do you not like seeing from wholesalers that you wish they would improve?
So I've been working on this deal I made an offer on, and the owner wants to carve out, it's in Mississippi, y'all. So like nothing is worth anything. And so the owner wants to carve out like 2 acres. And he's like, my 2 acres, it has my shop on it with the equipment in it, is worth $500,000. I'm like, it's freaking Mississippi. Nothing in Mississippi is worth $500,000. And I'm from Mississippi, y'all. I'm not hating on Mississippi. which is why I know it's worth nothing. You can't carve stuff out. That's how commercial real estate works. You need that to operate the property. So if you're telling me I got to go buy a couple $100,000 in equipment now when we close, that's not going to work. And so I think wholesalers learning like how you properly structure those deals when they're negotiating, because it's hard for them to go back and
you
change.
just lost half the wholesalers. You just told them they have to learn how to underwrite something.
They don't need to underwrite. They just need to negotiate for the right thing. Like
Okay.
everything has to be included. We're not picking and choosing parts we're buying.
Okay.
Right? We're including the business
whole
as a
thing.
whole. The real estate, the business, like it all comes together. You can't carve out part of it.
Okay. So,
Great point.
question right here.
Because
Because
What
then the
People try
NOI
to-
changes,
Right.
right? Pace loves the NOI.
what is your buy box? Like, are you nationwide?
I'm the Southeast.
Why?
I think it's underrated to have the economies of scale of build. All of my properties are within an hour of each other. I'm in 3 markets in East Tennessee.
So you're telling me I'm breaking all of your rules?
Your team is like 100 times bigger than mine,
Okay.
right? So I think you grow to that, right?
Got it. Okay.
Instead of like buying one in East Tennessee and then being like, let's go to California next. I can't even get on a flight and make it to California unless it's a whole day.
Okay. So here's a question. Is there any political reasons why you would not invest RV park wise in California?
Yes. Depending on the area you're in, sometimes if you do the wrong thing, you can end up with what's the cost control thing where they don't let you
rent
control.
You end up
On
falling.
RV parks?
So they apply it to mobile home parks, but you can easily end up in trouble in some of those things, and people are living with you. You can't get them out. And California is so much stricter on some of those things.
Have
with
you
their
ever had to do like
regulations.
evictions on RV parks?
I have had one eviction in
Okay.
the 14 years.
That's what I've really enjoyed about RV parks is that these people are purposely coming here temporarily.
Yeah.
And they have wheels.
and every once in a and the cops will usually just come make them leave because, like you said, they have wheels. You aren't like putting someone on the street.
Right.
Well, Southeast has to have a longer season, right?
We do. We have a longer season in the Southeast. I can share employees when stuff's going wrong. It's not me going to figure out what's wrong. I live 900 miles away from all of my properties, and I'm able to like shuffle my employees around to keep making stuff work. Because you got to remember, a lot of those RV park employees, they live in their camper, and they're called work campers, and they kind of have this gypsy mentality. So
Yeah.
if you're like, please make this bed differently, you wake up and they're gone.
Did you meet my people at my park?
I did. They were super nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never met them, so I don't know. But
They were very nice.
Are they doing
we
a
went
good
in the
job?
office and talked to them. Yeah, I think so.
where do I find these gypsies?
There is a website called workcampers.com.
Workcampers.com. Write that down, guys. Workcampers.com.
They live in their camper.
If you guys are looking to date a gypsy,
Workcamper.com. There's profiles. They got pictures
See the
and
world.
everything.
so yeah. I mean, what was interesting
Or at
about
least the
that,
country.
for those of you guys that are maybe curious about how these are managed, I didn't know this until really like last summer. But I go to the park, we're closing on one of my deals, and I'm talking to the family, like, so how long you guys been managing this park? And the guy's like, 3 weeks? Oh, okay, so you're new here. What happened to the previous? They'll be back in 4 months.
Yeah, they moved. Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean they'll be back?
Some of them trade parts of the country they go to.
Yeah, they're like, well, I go every summer in Kalispell because I love to fish, but then I go to 2 or 3 other RV parks around the country so I can travel around.
And what's cool, like you're doing, you bought in Texas. So sometimes you can trade those work campers. When you get ones you really like, they go to the season in Texas, right? And then they come back to you in Kalispell and they rotate. And
How do you pay
keep
these
those.
people typically?
Okay,
Free
so
rent.
here's the thing. No. So
Beef
if you do
jerky.
that, when you get audited, you're gonna be in trouble. Have you ever been audited?
Yes, and I've passed every audit.
Is that a true story?
You're not supposed to say stuff like that. That's
No, I was audited like 12 years ago, but not when I was like real estate investor.
So I was audited like 8 years ago, and the freaking person comes and sits in your office and like goes through all your stuff. It's pretty freaking intimidating, right? Luckily, I owed nothing, which also meant my accountants weren't pushing things quite hard enough. in
Yeah,
my
that's
opinion.
right.
So we made some changes then, but they're like, who stays here for free? Who does this? Who does? And those assholes will throw you under the bus, right? They're like trying to not get in trouble themselves, not realizing they're also getting themselves in trouble.
So the
It's not
IRS is looking
legal.
at that as like a form of compensation.
Yeah, it's not legal to give them a free site, but they all want it because those mother effers are getting government checks.
Oh,
they don't want the money to make up for
that's
it.
genius.
Yes.
These are like Democrats then.
Yes. I don't think Democrats people realize that they're like milking the system and we're paying for it. And it sucks.
Sorry, was that too far? Sorry, guys. Okay.
So I'm like,
So they're
no.
gaming the system. They're
If I have to
basically
pay taxes, so do you. So I'm not doing that.
they're basically acting like they're homeless on paper.
Yep.
And they're getting government bread while getting compensated by us on the low.
Yep.
Our people get paid in paychecks. They're W-2.
Okay, so what I do
I know
though,
them all.
I know them all.
Their family's great.
is I do give them a discounted rate, right? Because they're living in your property. They're working really hard on it. They probably do get bothered on and off. You can, for your manager, use it as part of their compensation. You just got to report it accordingly.
Okay.
But we do give them discounted rates. They get free laundry and some random things like that. But it is not legal to just trade work for their site, which a lot of people do, and your work campers will ask for.
Do your students do it?
No, I'm really hard on them about it.
Okay.
Because getting audited sucks. And I would much rather have them like count all my quarters than me be in trouble.
Okay. All right. So your buy box is in the Southeast.
Southeast. Yep.
You're not looking for 1,000 site big old bad boys. You're looking for
I don't want to compete with institutions.
What's too small of pads?
Nothing is too small of pads as long as it has room for expansion, like we just talked about.
Great answer.
And also in some of those smaller, like you were talking about an Austin property, I would buy a 10-site Austin property because I would turn it into that glamping resort you just talked about with your manufactured, what'd you call them? The homes that are modular homes. You could turn it into a glamping resort, and then you've got your 10 short-term rentals essentially in one spot. You know, they have them as fishing camps or hunting camps or whatever it may be, and those kick out the cash flow too.
Okay. So wholesalers sending you deals.
Yeah.
What else are faux pas? What are no-nos?
Wastewater treatment plants and lift stations and all of those crazy creative.
What is that all? Tell us what the wastewater.
That's where the poop goes, Jamil.
That's where the poop goes, Jamil.
Okay. So back to the poop.
Yeah, and the problem becomes if something goes wrong on one of them, you can end up spending more than the price of the property to fix it. Like, it is not a risk you want to take. Lagoons, like, dude, lagoons are like it just goes into the water and then like there's way more to it, but like something magically happens, right? And so you have to have that tested regularly, and the EPA is involved and all this crazy stuff. I don't want those complications, right? So I am looking for city water, city sewer, or at the very least septic and well. Yeah.
Okay. What other things could tank you, right? I mean, other than wastewater, what's a lift station? And then what else can tank you? Because there's, in every business, right? For instance, Pace and I we were going to buy a multifamily together a few years ago in 22. We put $500,000 down as an EMD. The building was worth $13 million the day we contracted it. And then all of the shenanigans happened with the interest rates. It spiked so fast that the new value of the building before close of escrow was $7 million. And Pace and I walked away from a $500,000 EMD. We're like, we're not closing this. This is crazy. And so the interest rate spike tanked the deal, right? We were okay to walk away from $500,000. It is what it is, cost of doing business. But that could have tanked somebody who closed on that a month earlier, right?
Yeah.
What could tank you in the RV world so that people can just see the angles, right? What's gonna hit the bankruptcy button so we're not in that?
So I think when you're in the single family world, you're used to asking for forgiveness instead of permission. And that does not work in commercial real estate. The city and the county will literally blow you up with crazy fines that will bankrupt somebody if you don't do things right. So do not do this before you're under contract, because you will screw up mom and pop and you don't want to mess up their business. But after you're under contract, and you need to make it really clear in that offer that you are going to confirm that they are properly zoned and permitted. Because what happens is mom and pop get in this fight, and pop gets in his bulldozer and wants to blow off some steam, and he goes and adds 10 more sites. And he did that like 5 years ago, which is great because they're cash flowing from it. But when you buy the property and the city comes in to inspect and there's 10 sites that aren't accounted for, the city's going to be like, no, those are not allowed, and I'm not giving them to you. And now you're totally screwed because you can't rent those 10 sites and you needed those for your cash flow. So making sure you're properly zoned and permitted. And if you're planning on doing that expansion we talked about, not all cities are going to let you do that. So during due diligence, you need to be 100% sure the city's going to let you do what you think you can do. This is not single family.
Great stuff. Okay.
How long are your escrow periods when you buy?
We do 60 days due diligence typically.
And then how long? The day you sign a purchase agreement to purchase it till you close is how long? Usually
90 days. Sometimes you'll see a 45-day due diligence, but that's like some amazing deal that people are really competing for, and they're like crazy skilled buyers, right? They know their shit. So it's more like 60 days due diligence, 30 days.
How are you finding these deals?
Great question. So there's industry specific brokers, so you can find some good deals through them.
Like commercial brokers, you just call them up and say, "Hey, you got this listing."
But there's industry specific ones, like for example, Colliers International or CBRE, the big guys. They all have branches of RV parks and mobile home parks, but they like to be tricky. And I'm sure you see this. They try to sell you on not actuals, on projected.
Always.
So you've got to look at those numbers because those projected are like where you're going to make money. The previous owner doesn't need to be paid for what you're going to build. Exactly. And so having that conversation and the day it goes to market, you're not going to get that. You've got to wait, let them sit on the market for a minute and let them realize they're not going to get that price. So you're finding on market deals. You're finding off market deals through mail outs and cold calling because it's huge relationship building.
Is that is mail outs like when you send dudes out to knock on the door?
Totally at pace. That could be a business.
That's how he got started in the business. It was.
That's why he has the guns, right?
Yes, Brent's the most direct mail there is.
That's right. You want some protein?
Do you ever rent out? So Carly Grunman, who loves Carly Grunman?
Yeah, she's amazing.
We love Carly. Carly's also on my team. I'm sorry, I have really good people on my team.
I love Carly. Yes.
Carly, do you? So she's doing a lot of RV park or RVs that are like Mercedes Sprinter vans and stuff like that, all with Creative Finance. She's acquiring them and then renting them out.
Yeah, I interviewed her on my podcast.
What was what's the website that you rent those out on? I forget.
Outdoorsy and RV Share.
Okay, I rented my Airstream on RV Share and then it came back with adult toys in it. So I decided I'm not renting out my Airstream any longer. But Carly,
Airstreams are kind of high end to be renting on something like that too. They're
I know
not cheap.
The guy backed it into a cinder block wall the first day he rented it from me. So anyway,
you don't want that.
Carly says, "What about renting out RVs in your RV park?" If you remember my RV park in the very front, there's this massive. We had like 400 people on that tour.
Yep.
If you remember how big my parking lot was,
and all that stuff.
Could I do like car rental or RV rental there? Is that a good idea? Story.
So 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was married for almost 10 years and I found out my husband was having an affair.
With a gypsy.
Almost. A bartender. And so when I tell y'all, like I was devastated, doesn't even begin to describe it. But if this isn't Mississippi, I don't know what is. He had her living in my camper, y'all.
No.
Living in the camper at the campground. And obviously,
congrats.
I'm like, I don't want this camper anymore.
Look at your life now. Look how much you've won since this.
But so I don't want this camper anymore because he's got his girlfriend living in it, but I need to do something with it. So this was back when Facebook was bigger than Instagram. So I do this fun little tour of my camper and I'm like, I'm going to rent it out. I need to make some money off this thing. For some reason, the stupid video goes viral and I have it rented out for like the next 9 months and it totally pays off the camper. I'm taking in a couple $100 a night. And so that was like this huge light bulb moment for me. So I bought a whole bunch of more campers. I bought them to look the exact same. They're all the bunkhouse ones with the bunk beds in the back. Yeah. Because then you can use your occupancy optimization, which means if somebody rents, like if we have a grid, right? I know it's going to get complicated.
Is this like co-living for RV? So like you rent out the bed?
No, stick with me.
Okay.
So at the top is like your dates of check-in. Yeah. At the bottom is the type, let's call it RV 1, 2, 3, 4, right? The Morby family comes in and they're going to stay Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they've rented RV 1. The Jamil family comes in and they're renting RV number 2 for like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So technically, you no longer have anything available. But occupancy optimization will move the Jamil family up to check in after the Pace family, and you've now opened up RV number 2. Mm-hmm. And the computer does this so that it optimizes the amount of money you can bring in. But if you don't have all of your campers exactly the same, the people are going to expect something different. So you need the software to be able to do its thing, which means they all need to be the same. Same with your tiny homes. You need the software to be able to move them around so that they don't have a specific one. You think, I want to be creative and have these different ones, but then that messes up your occupancy optimization. Hotel suites. Exactly. You don't know what hotel room number you're checking in. You just know it has 2 beds.
Gosh, okay. I learned something every time I talk to you. Andrew, Subto Drew right here out of Houston, Texas, this handsome son of a gun. He wants to know, what is your favorite and best performing RV park?
Dude, the one I bought like the first time around is in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. It is, dude, I was like,
it's in Tennessee when it's named Pigeon Forge.
So it's a #1 visited national park in the country.
Yep.
What?
I was so blessed.
You're
y'all.
lying.
No, I was
Smoky
26
Mountains
years
and all
old.
that, right?
Yeah, Smoky Mountains.
What is so cool about the Smoky Mountains?
Literally nothing. I don't know why people go there.
It's so accessible. It's close. It's
Okay.
accessible.
They have like
People
t-shirts.
go on the weekends. People go.
Okay,
but
so it's
also
like
it's
surrounded.
It's like their Flagstaff.
Well, it's
I see,
also
okay.
one of the few national parks in like the eastern
Oh,
part
you're
of the
right by
country.
Jerry Norton's new house.
Yes, Jerry moved to the same town as my mom. I actually had to talk Anne
Maryville?
Marie into Maryville. Yeah, Maryville.
Merble.
Marvel. I had to talk Anne Marie into moving to Tennessee. She's like, the people there are gonna suck.
They're amazing.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
They're super amazing.
In Flag, yeah.
Okay, this does make sense
I
because
don't
you've
think it's
got
zoned
like
for it, though.
Knoxville and you've got
Yeah,
Asheville
your
on the other
radius
side.
that
Like
you
you've
can
got
pull
Greenville.
from.
You've
Yes.
got all these massive cities. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like if Flagstaff had 7 Phoenixes all the
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
And so what's crazy is, so that park was in bankruptcy. They gave me a no money down loan for $3.2 million, which
Amazing.
sounds like holy crap, Heather, you like won the lottery. But I was also 26, pregnant with this one, and had to figure out how the heck do I run an RV park because my first payment was $18,500. That's like a lot of money for
That's a
somebody
baller,
who's,
bro.
yeah.
You have balls. Yeah, oh yeah, we have talked about Ingrid. We have talked about this. You are tough, dude.
I think the risk when I got married, I don't think my husband realized what he was getting into. With some
Zero
of these,
risk.
like,
Your risk
yeah.
profile is very low.
Yeah.
Me and you are the same.
Yeah.
I'll run into a burning building. Like, what's in there?
Hey, anybody want to sell this to me creative?
Yeah, but yeah,
That was
exactly. Okay, are there okay, let me talk about a couple of things that we improved at our park, and let me see if there's anything that you remember from my park that you think I need to do, okay? What was interesting is
You need a sign. Stop spending your money.
I know. I need a
Sign, restaurants, sell wood, sell ice.
Sell ice.
Okay,
Get
so
rid of the storage units.
He sells the stuff, right? But he's on this like amazing road, right? And there's nothing by there. You need a sign so the people driving by also buy from you.
Get like an inflatable sign.
Get a cheap sign. Put a freaking sandwich board out there.
Put a
What are those we buy houses?
Yeah,
but,
that
like,
guy,
you
put
put
that
on the
guy.
thing?
I'll show you. We have
You know
a
what I'm
sign,
saying?
okay?
Like,
We have
go
a sign.
bananas.
I'll-
Get like a lumberjack, like a blow up lumberjack out there. Who cares? It costs you $2,000.
It is true. I'll show you guys what the RV park looks like. You guys will be impressed by this freaking sign that we have, okay? And don't let Heather tease you or tease me anymore. This thing is legit. Okay?
Heather, when you were getting started, were you cold calling these owners yourself? Were you just going
No,
through
I
commercial
literally-
brokers? What were you
okay, so
doing?
this was back in, 14 years ago, right? I was Google searching pay-per-clicks,
Yeah.
RV parks for sale, campgrounds for sale, and I found it, and the bank owned it. And I
Right.
called the bank, and I'm like, I want to buy this.
So it was just on a website. It was listed. It was on the market.
Yep.
Okay.
I was like, I want to buy this. And the
Yeah.
bank's like, how much money you have? And I'm like, I don't have any.
Yeah. Did you have to have experience with commercial properties?
Okay, so
You know, to
this
get-
was.
Are you telling me this sign is not good enough right here?
Bro,
Oh wow.
Actually, so she's talking about my little sign. Check this guy out, guys. You will laugh so hard. Look at this is our actual sign right here. This buggy up on stilts with a camper behind it.
hilarious. I
And
actually
it's
like that.
dark, too.
Yeah, you
Oh,
can't
it's
see it.
and there's
Make it
like
pink.
a mannequin inside of it. It's pretty bad. I should have saved the money for something else. You are right about that.
So he can
Anyway.
increase his business there by selling ice, selling wood, doing all the things, and getting rid of the storage. But it's optimization essentially. It's a value add. You're looking at these the way you would a single family. How can I force appreciation here?
Right.
Exactly.
And when we're talking commercial, forcing appreciation isn't just renovations, guys. Forcing appreciation is how all the different ways you can add income streams. So the laundry, the ice, the wood, the restaurant, the truck, all the
Crazy
things.
cool is I know y'all love Cody, but it's all of Cody's boring businesses piled into one property. You're literally getting all of her boring businesses right there, backed by your real estate.
We like you more.
Cody's pretty creative.
I'm gonna text her today and tell her that. Okay.
She's pretty creative.
She is creative.
Do you create experience? Like you can buy a
Yes.
single family house
Yep.
and you can you could make it like a cool experience, like living in a Hobbit house, right? And then Airbnb it, and you make more, and it's sold out all the time. Is it the same?
It is.
With these?
Everybody's looking for this unique experience,
right?
They're tired
want
of
to
going to the
Instagram
same
it.
places.
They
They
want
want to be on Instagram, which is where those extra streams of revenue come in. Your glamping tents, your modular homes, and the things that they can do once they get to your park. There's this report called the North American Camping Report. It comes out every year, and let me
take notes on this.
And it has tons of data, and it talks about like people's top things that they're looking to do. They want to go hiking, they want to go fishing, they want to go mountain biking. So you can make sure your property is next to something that has those experiences that people are looking for.
Right.
And you don't need this huge budget to like put on a concert or whatever it may be. If you're making sure you've got some of those activities.
Did you tell this to my team?
I did.
Thank you, Coach.
You could also not have to worry about being involved in the direct facilitation of those excursions. You could broker the excursions, so you could find out who are all the people, like they do in the Mexican hotels. You go to a Mexican hotel, there's a person in every Mexican hotel who will sell you this excursion, that excursion, that excursion.
They can get you anything.
Yeah, and they just
like
broker it, right? So you could do the same thing. You could broker all that, make relationships where all of the different events are, all the different little things that people want to do out there, and say, pay me 10 or 20% referral on every customer I send your way for this.
Jamil, I'm going to argue with you for a minute though, but then you don't get the cash flow to push the appreciation on your property.
That's understood.
If you're outsourcing it. So sure, it depends on what your goals are, right?
Yeah.
If you just want the fee and you want operations to be easy, which no harm in that, you're not going to push that appreciation because you're just getting a fee on the side, which does not contribute to your net operating income, right?
Couldn't it though, if you put like one of those, you know, they got those stands with a bunch of brochures in them.
Yeah.
And could you not say that that's your referral? That's your mag. It's in your property. It's part of the business because it's right there. Could you not?
But you got 10% of it instead of 100% of it. So
true. But now you're taking people 10%. Up a mountain and doing all the things, which is kind of hard if you're me.
That's why you got a guy for that.
He has he has a guy for just. By the way, Jamil, congratulations on your new house in Canada, brother.
Thanks.
Yeah. Woo. Let's make him. Can you make it bigger so we can see?
Yeah, hell yeah. Can we get a little?
Show us around.
Can we get a little tour, please?
Come on.
Well, there's my door.
Nice. That is a nice door.
That's a nice door. Here's my little
Bro, you got a double-sided fireplace?
I do have a double-sided fireplace. Like, this is my little living room. That down there is where Charisma lives, in the basement. And then I've got two stories. It goes up one floor and then up another floor. And then on my roof, I've got a view right on the river, and then of downtown as well.
Where in Canada?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta.
Okay.
It's this little strip where I'm living right now. I used to bring my Labrador when I was like 20 years old, and I used to walk along the bank of the river and just dream about owning a property one day, or living in a property one day on the river, and wondering who the hell could do that. And you know,
wholesalers.
30 something years later, it's me, which is cool.
Awesome.
Isn't that the weirdest thing ever? It's the same thing with like your house in LA.
Yeah.
Like I used to go out there. I went out to where your house is for my senior prom, and I walked up and down where your house is, right there in what's the city you're in?
Venice.
In Marina Del Rey.
Marina Del Rey, which is next door to Venice, basically Venice, just with less homeless people.
Correct.
And I'm sitting there going, what do these people do? What in the freak do these people do?
They're wholesalers.
They're freaking wholesalers, dude.
That's right.
Like legit.
Wait, Jamil, last time I talked to you, you were dating.
Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah.
We love her so
great.
much.
Dating the same girl. She'll be at our Squad Up Summit event if you're there. I would love to introduce you, but she's cool, man.
Her name's Saba.
Okay.
We love her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you.
Saba came out to Boston Owners Club retreat just to have dinner with me, and I interviewed her for Jamil for 4 hours.
You got like the stamp of approval.
Oh my gosh, I like her more.
He literally came for the purpose of meeting Pace and the family, and like I was like, listen, this can't really go anywhere unless my best friend likes you, because if he thinks you're shit, then I'm sorry, but it's not gonna work. She's
so incredible, dude, and you deserve her as well. It's
Thank you.
so
How did you meet
cool.
her?
At a charity event, actually.
In LA. She's an LA girl.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you wholesale. You get all these amazing things.
And she's in a completely unrelated industry. She's a C-suite executive in a HR staffing firm and doesn't give a crap about real estate. So she's not one of those who's like, hey, can I take you out to dinner and pick your brain? Because I don't need that if I'm going to kiss you afterwards.
Is your husband into real estate?
No.
Amazing.
No.
This is why you guys are busy making babies.
Yeah. So, okay, this is a total side story that
We
Ingrid and I
love side stories.
talked about. So,
It's the whole show.
when I was dating, I went on 200 dates, y'all.
What?
200. You got to evaluate the deals.
What do you
right?
mean?
Hold
I
on
went
a
on
second.
200 dates before I met
What
my
What was
husband.
your, so what was your
After my
underwriting
split
criteria?
up, I went on 2. I went on 2. The one I disqualified,
How did you find 2?
and I'm still dating the other one.
This is what we need to get into.
Okay, so
By the way, Jamil went celibate. Jamil went celibate for like a year and a half. So to give him a little bit more
okay,
credit,
I still had to birth a baby though, y'all.
I understand. I just want to know, what was the underwriting criteria? Was there a spreadsheet that was given to you?
Okay, so what's interesting when you're trying to date and you're like not 25 anymore, you're like, I need them to not do drugs. I need them to not live with
How
their
old are you
mom.
at this time?
I'm 33 to like 38.
Is weed drugs
5 years.
to you, by the way, Heather? Is weed drugs?
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, it is in a state that it's not legal, right? Because they got to attain it legally. And I've got 3 kids. I can't get in trouble, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So let's just weed's drugs to you.
If it's obtained illegally,
Okay. If it's obtained legally, it's not drugs.
correct. It's no different than alcohol,
Okay.
right?
Cool.
And so figuring out people who like are
She's
mentally
pretty
stable,
logical.
and then I had to going to dinner with them, and you can't leave. So I started being like, I need a FaceTime date first, and then I'm only willing to meet you for coffee because you're not going to be who you say you
It was
are.
like a first pass underwriting.
On a
It was
major
like,
dates.
I'm not getting under contract with you. We're doing LOIs first.
Yeah, exactly. And so I had there's this
Hilarious.
life and relationship therapist who's pretty popular among like high powered women. And I'm not going to say her name because I totally disagree with her. Because I had a session with her. I was thinking about using her for
Is
my
she the
women's
Indian
group.
woman?
She is not Indian.
Okay.
And she is from another country though. And she was like, Heather,
Oh, is she British?
she might be.
She actually does have a
And-
British accent. She has dark, brunette,
And she was
tan skin, right?
and she was like, Heather,
Okay, got it.
I know who you're talking about.
she's like, you have too much masculine energy, and you're never going to meet somebody unless you can figure out how to balance that.
Hmm.
And so for a minute, I started thinking, oh my God, I have too much masculine energy. This is why I'm meeting people. But as I went through this like process in my mind, I'm like, fuck that. I am proud of my masculine
Yeah.
energy. This is what kept my kids and I out of a ditch. This is what has supported us. And I am proud of this personality. And so my husband is a physical therapist. So so my husband's a little more feminine. He's got that like caretaker personality for
Yeah.
the physical therapy. And he's not like gay feminine. He's just like more of a caregiver, right?
Yeah.
And so our personalities with the like masculine and feminine energy balance really, really well. And I feel like that's not talked about enough because it's okay to have a little bit more or a little bit less as long as you balance each other well.
Yeah, my son, definitely not a feminine guy. I just think that he will attract a more in charge woman.
Yeah.
You know, because he's an incredible dude. Anybody that's met Asher, he's not gay. Nothing wrong with anybody being gay, but he will attract a woman that's like, I'm in charge. It's my way, or not my way or the highway, but like we're going this direction.
Yeah.
A little bit more of a leader, like somebody like you.
Yeah. And my husband's super.
Yeah, Latina. 100%.
Okay. So I live
Yeah.
in South Florida. So I would go on dates.
Are
with
you
Latin
what that we
guys
would
and
consider
would
like a
not get along.
Missouri Latino?
I mean, I'm not Latina, but I could be like honorary.
Okay.
Yeah. I get to be
So
honorary.
200 dates.
200 dates.
And what was the most common thing that you found during all this? It was like
Oh
the
my
most
gosh.
annoying
Okay,
thing.
So remember, I'm in South Florida. So nobody in South Florida is white. I'm like the only white person. And
And you're
Well, they
like
are
white,
white. They started white, Heather, but they're not white anymore.
and I'm
because-
like white, y'all. I'm Irish, English, and Dutch from Mississippi, like super white. And I can remember, like, because there's a lot of Cuban guys, right? And they're beautiful and they can dance. I love salsa dancing. They're like physically super attractive. However, I can remember talking to this one guy, and he's like, "How do white women behave in their natural habitat?" I'm like, "We're not jungle animals. Like, what do you mean? We behave like any other women. What are you talking about?" And so I think the cultural differences, and I married somebody from Asia, right?
Yeah.
I think the cultural differences can be really fun and a lot more difficult than some people
Oh,
realize.
legit. Your husband is Filipino.
He's Chinese from Singapore.
Okay, got it. From Singapore.
And, like,
And
Asian, like his parents still live there.
so 200 dates, 200 dudes.
Yep.
And then you finally met your husband how?
I meet him and we get married 6 weeks later.
Whoa.
I get pregnant two. I was ready.
You knew what you
I was
wanted.
ready. And then
Married.
6 weeks later.
Bro.
And then I got pregnant 2 weeks after that. So and then I got pregnant 4 weeks after that baby.
Yeah.
So we've just been pregnant like our whole marriage.
Winning life.
Yeah,
Okay, so where'd you meet him? Farmersonly.com
totally. That's it.
or workcampers?
Okay, so what's
.com.
even
Yeah, that's
funnier
it.
is because he's Asian and he's 10 years younger than me. So
Mhm.
he's 30. On the internet, everyone's like, is your husband even 18? I'm like, yes, I mail ordered someone from China who wasn't 18 and had 2 babies with them. Like they beat me up on Instagram, y'all, thinking my husband's like a baby. He's 30. He's not a baby.
You live life on your terms, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I freaking love it.
Yeah.
I love that you also stood up for yourself and just said, like, straight up, I love my energy. I love who I am. We love you too.
I feel like if you're not unapologetically yourself, all these things build up and it comes back to bite you.
Yeah. You're
But
doing a
Heather-
disservice to everybody.
You're a catch. And that loser who cheated on you deserved to lose you, and the one who has you right now deserved to get you. So that's awesome.
Thanks,
Yes.
Jamil. I appreciate that.
So derailer, are you a derailer? Do you like to derail the conversation? She says, derailer says, how many pads for the size of the RV park did Heather recommend? Forget about the expansion conversation.
Yep.
I have no ability to expand. I'm landlocked.
Yep.
What would you suggest as pad size? 10, 5?
Okay, that's a wrong question.
Dang it.
You need to look at
I swear you're an attorney.
you need to look at the income coming in. Because unless you're planning on creating a job for yourself and running the day-to-day operations, you have to have enough income coming in order to hire somebody. So what you're looking at is how much income is coming in. Is there payroll in that? Because when Pace is like net operating income is stupid, it's because mom and pop end up like not paying themselves.
Yeah.
And you look at the net and it's not really the net because now you got to go hire 2 people to replace mom and pop.
Hold on. We got to hit home on this really strong because this isn't just RV parks, mobile home parks. This is multifamily.
Yeah.
This is businesses.
Yep.
We bought a business last year, theperfectclean.com, and their expenses were like, yeah, this is what we net. And then we go, well, where's your salary? Well, our salary is the net. No.
We got to replace you. And they usually work more than a normal person is going to work.
100%.
So now we need 4 people instead of 2 in order to replace them. So you've got to make sure you have enough money for you to make some money after you pay all those people, right? And then you've got to have like your bottom dollar of like, Pace was like, I get $7,000 a month. Like how much money needs to come off of it in order for it to be worth your time? It once you hire those people. Only you know the answer to that because that number is going to change for Pace and I because we own a bunch of deals, right? So I'm not willing to do it for a couple $1,000 a month, but for you, a couple $1,000 a month might mean,
Life-changing.
yeah, you get to stay home with your kids and you get to leave your job, right? So it's going to depend on how those numbers work out for you.
That is a great answer for a lot of people. We have a girl in Subto. Her name's Paige. 5 years ago, she joined Subto. Within 3 months, she had done like 4 deals and she was net cash flowing. She had an Airbnb and a couple of co-living properties. She was netting $7,500 a month. We've never heard from her ever again.
That's all she needed.
That's all she needed.
That's all she needed.
And like she'll check in with me like once a year, just, hey, it's my anniversary. Just want to tell you I'm still living on those properties. Life is great. She just wanted to quit being a nurse and be with her kid like all the
And
way
there's
through.
nothing wrong with that, right?
It's not even that there's nothing wrong with it. It is preferred that somebody knows what the hell they actually
Yes.
want.
Yes. That you're not caught up in that, like, I got to have another deal. Got to have another deal. Got to have another deal.
I don't know what that feels like.
I like that.
Dustin Seiler is a catch, like straight up a catch.
Okay, Dustin, I have a women's mastermind with hundreds of women just like me, and a lot of them are single. So we can totally hook you up.
Where's your primary?
Can he join?
No.
Hold on. In Maine, if he was from Maine, because they allow men and women's sports, would you guys allow him if he's from Maine?
If you're doing the mastermind in Maine.
Okay, Dustin, what topic can you come speak on at our women's event?
Okay, so
you get to
he's
meet
in the
everybody?
medical field. He's incredible, hardworking,
Okay.
muscular build,
Okay.
articulate,
Okay.
amazing guy.
We can hook you up, Dustin. We got some single girls who are amazing.
Where would you say most women are like in their phase of life that are joining your mastermind?
You know, the sad part is
I'm asking the wrong question, aren't I?
no.
Okay.
You're actually asking the right question
good.
this time.
Yes.
The
Please
sad
don't say
part is
menopause.
okay. The sad part is most women don't have the ability to find other women like them. We go to moms groups, we go to play dates, and we're like, I freaking hate this. I feel like I'm going to crawl out of my skin. I am not having the same conversations as these ladies, and they feel really lonely. Think about how many men are at like Squat Up, right? It's predominantly male. A lot of the women who are there,
we do a good job.
a lot of the women who are there, they were there with their husbands.
No, we're our community is now 51% female.
What?
Yeah,
okay, you're the only one.
We are the only one.
Like other communities are not that.
Well, we really did a good
It's also
job.
because all your employees are women, and you do a good job of showing them.
I have 8 sisters, so I grew up with women,
Yeah.
and so like in my world, women run the world. And so when I hire people, I primarily hire. Plus, we attract really high level female leaders like Ingrid Hernandez.
And so that's
people,
where we get the women. They
Wait, all
can't-
this time I thought it was me, Pace.
I mean, it definitely is you. We have a lot of Indian women that join Subto because of Jamil. That is for sure. They're looking for an arranged marriage with Jamil. So you've got women.
they're
No,
looking for
I'll
the
tell you
relationships.
honestly,
Yeah.
in the real estate space, I don't know a woman specific mastermind.
When these girls don't own like one short-term rental, these girls are killing it. We have a ton of girls that make over $1 million a year. That the ladies are like killing it, and they don't have other women they can relate to because, no offense to you, Pace, you've got an amazing wife at home, like holding the fort down when you're not there, right?
Yes, right.
We don't mostly have that. So we're trying to like keep track of what groceries we have, what's going to be for dinner, who's got a doctor's appointment, when's the kid's birthday. Like, I got to get this, I got to get that, I got to get home to the babies, who's going to keep my kids for me to go to this event. And that's a whole other thing you're trying to relate to, juggling that like mom side that a lot of us truly want, mixed with we like have this drive for we want to build something too.
Right.
And finding those other women to relate to is
It's
not
hard.
easy.
It's hard.
May I ask a question about this without it sounding strange? And if it does, I apologize, Heather. Feel free to correct me in my understanding. So my sister, she's like you. She's a strong woman. She's a badass. She gets it done. She makes money, all the things. And she's got a wonderful husband. And he like takes that role, right? Like he's like your husband. He's a supporter. He's there. He lets her drive the ship, and he sits back seat or shotgun and does the things he needs to do to keep it together. Would you say that the majority of the women in the mastermind have significant others like that, or are they looking for significant others that are of that type of mentality who can be great supporters instead of there being this like, clash in the home where you've got an alpha female and then a man wanting to come in and be like, no, I'm in charge. And she's like, no, I'm in charge. And then you get this big, contest.
I think it's truly 50-50. I would say about half my girls have really supportive husbands that they're sometimes working in the business with together. And then the other ones, their husbands do totally opposite things. They've got school teacher husbands, they've got stay-at-home dads, they've got all of these things. And I will say one thing, while my husband is playing this like supportive role right now, he's super smart. He has a doctorate. He's a physical therapist, and his family owns.
It doesn't say anything about him because he's being a supporter. He's smart. He saw the angle. He was like, "Are you kidding me? This makes sense. I'm going to do the thing, right?" So, I didn't mean that in a way that.
No, I don't think it that way at all, Jamil. And what's interesting is like his family owns a soy sauce factory in China. They own.
I would have married him too. Gosh.
Wait.
Is this chicken man guy?
They own a chicken farm. They own all these like amazing factories and things in China. So he has this like entrepreneurial brain, but he is so much better than like at the child raising part than I am. So I think it's, sometimes stay-at-home moms like stay-at-home moms.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you watch your mom in the household? Is her husband better at raising the kids than she is? Oh my gosh. Wow. That's so diplomatic.
Okay, his like judgment on what's dangerous is not exactly the same because he's not from the U.S. So the things that
you're from Mississippi, and in my mind, nothing is dangerous.
Right?
Is that right or wrong?
That's wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
When it comes to like the safety of your kids and like Mississippi, we're like gun toting. They took my knife at the airport. Like you've got to you're a little more aggressive, right? You're ready to take care of yourself. And he was in Asia, in Singapore, they have to be in the military first. But like he doesn't even know how to use a gun. Right? They don't teach them that because it's like not a day. They get
it's like that's how it was in Korea. They have a 2-year required it's like a sentence basically to serve in the Gundae is what they call it. And when they serve there, they don't actually learn how to fire guns.
Right.
They are just like
they get a sword.
Yeah, get a sword.
They get a sword.
Yeah.
Or a baton. I don't know what they call it.
That's kind of
badass. Have you been over to Singapore to see this like soy sauce factory?
That's in China, actually.
Wait, is it soya sauce or soy sauce?
Soy sauce.
Soy sauce.
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard you guys call it soya sauce a couple of times here, and I'm thinking,
I was saying yeah in the middle of the sentence. I
think he's just excited,
I was
Jamil.
very excited
I think it's
about
just
this.
an excitement coming out of it. Yeah.
A lot of women in the side comments asked about how do I get more information about your mastermind?
You can go to heatherblankenship.com and you can find all kinds of information there.
heatherblankenship.com. You did not take your new husband's name.
Actually, I haven't told everybody this yet, but my name is no longer Heather Blankenship. It's Heather Blankenship Lee.
Okay, cute.
But my middle name is Lee, so I was going to be like Heather Lee Lee. That is not cool. Not cool.
That's awesome. Lily?
I was going to be like Heather Lee Lee. Not cute. Not cute. So I am hyphenated.
That's pretty
I
great.
freaking love. Okay, so
It'd be
Heather.
easier to type it in Google.
It would be easier to type it in Google.
Yeah, Blankenship.
Heather Lily?
Heather Lee Lee. Yeah. That sounds like a fake name.
I think you're missing out. I think you're missing out, but yeah, I get it.
Mia and a lot of other ladies, to answer your question, go to heatherblankenship.com. Elena Bailey says, I want to join. Even Ingrid Hernandez is like, yo, sign me up. Freaking love it.
But we were talking about seasons, right?
Yeah.
Because you're in the season. You're in the baby phase with your wife. I think people get trapped in their mind thinking about this is forever. So even though my husband's decided to like be that person right now, I think in a different season, we will probably have tons of physical therapy clinics and like build his side of the business. But it's a huge blessing to think of that as a season and that we get to do something else really cool that's different in a couple of years.
I think that's a really mature way of looking at things, is realizing, you know, you look at like Grant Cardone, for example.
Yep.
Homeboy's 67 years old.
Yep.
Okay. We have time, Heather.
Yep.
You will live 3 more lifetimes by the time you get to Grant Cardone's life, like at his age right now. And that guy's got another 100 years ahead of him, right? Like you can reinvent yourself or expand or contract multiple times and still reinvent yourself in 20 years from now. And so people do forget that, especially when you're in the baby phase. I feel it slipping right now, sadly.
Yep.
Like all of our babies are walking now. One of them's about, we've had 2 babies in diapers for the last 2 years. And so we're about to have one of them no longer in diapers. And I'm watching this happen and the potty train happening. And I'm watching this like sand fall through the timer, you know, you know what I'm talking about? The hourglass. Thank you. I never said you had to be smart to make money. Okay. So it is sad, but also I can see on the other side of all of it is that there's, you know, even Laura's like, what am I going to do when the babies are now fully functioning and they don't need me anymore? So
are y'all done?
You should ask her that tomorrow. You're going to interview her tomorrow, right? Ask her. Because I sneak it in every once in a while.
I'll send you the recording.
Please. Yeah. I sneak it in every once in a while. And then I trick her into a 3-minute conversation about the baby's name. And I'll say stuff like to Corbin Monday and Asher at dinner. I go, so what do you guys think we should name our next baby? And it turns to a full on conversation. And my wife is all into it. And then the next day I'm like, are we done? She's like, I think so.
Do either of your parents help y'all? Do you have like family support?
My mom has 12 kids.
Right.
And my mom is a gangster. She's like you. Like you remind me so much of my mom, like just so ultra dynamic and winning in so many different facets. You're not just a great mom. You're also dynamic in creating things. You're a creator. My mom is very much that way. But my mom is very much into her own world. I don't have what Brent has. Brent has his father is unbelievable. His mom is a magical unicorn, and they help out with the kids because they want to.
Yeah.
My
Aaron's side too. Yeah.
Yeah. And on the other side too, I have 2 parents that are kind of in their own worlds where they don't financially they don't own their lives.
Yeah.
And so we don't have it, sadly.
And so it's interesting because people tell you it takes a village, but then when you're having kids, you're like, where the F is my village?
Yeah.
Because like we don't have that anymore. American culture doesn't set you up for that.
Yeah. And my wife is very much, you know, like we'll hang out with other really wealthy friends that all have 4 different nannies. My wife will have a nanny 1 hour a day for like one thing, but she refuses to let anybody else raise her kids.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
And my in-laws would kill me for talking about this.
Yeah.
But
they ain't watching this.
In Singapore and Hong Kong.
They ain't into wholesale.
They're always watching. Okay. So in Singapore and Hong Kong.
Do they ever send nasty text messages like, heard what you said?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And block them on
Do
Instagram.
they have like Chinese spyware into our show right now? They're watching us?
I don't know. Hopefully not. So in their culture, they have a Filipino maid come live with them from the time the kids are born. They cook, they clean, they take them to school. They do everything.
Yeah.
And so they do not raise kids. They do not raise their kids.
That's a Chinese thing, Singapore thing,
Singapore
or is
and
that
Hong
just
Kong.
this family?
I don't know about the rest of
Okay.
Asia, but Singapore and Hong Kong, it's very normal. And they live in these tiny rooms inside your house. And because they come from this third world country, it is legitimately a better place for them than where they were living.
Makes sense.
But they have this help that they don't realize that in like our country we don't have. And you think it's amazing that you have all this help. However, my husband and I have therapy once a week. I feel like it's really, really healthy to have therapy when you're married because men and women do not think the same. And having that like middleman, like talk you through some of it can be really enlightening and help you get along better. And especially with us with the cultural differences, the stuff that my husband has to be talked through because he didn't have that person to be attached to when he was younger. The parents weren't there. And it is not good for your kids. Like that sacrifice you give up to stay at home and raise your kids.
It's worth it.
It like makes your kids so much more mentally healthy and stable in the long run to give up those couple of years that you're going to catch back up with in the long run anyway. Like that bunch of nannies is not good for anybody.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think that there's just some things where it took me a while to get her convinced. So all the way through our first probably 10 years of marriage, I did all the laundry. I did all the shopping. I grew up in a family of 12 kids. I'm a Boy Scout. I'm a Mormon dude at heart. I wake up early before she even woke up.
We decided you were a vampire before you got here.
Oh yeah, maybe. But it got to a point where I go, hey, I'm going to hire somebody to help out with just the laundry and cleaning up the house. So you don't have to do that. And we got there. But then I got to a point where I'm like, you feel better when you go to the gym.
Yeah.
You feel better when you go do fun things. Why don't we have somebody just watch the girls for like an hour a day? And that took 2 years. So I talk to her.
And I'm not against like hiring somebody, right?
Yeah.
We get date night once a week, and that literally makes our relationship.
For sure.
Being able to have that
what do you guys do on
time,
date night?
dude.
Get pregnant again.
Clearly, we have
Double
babies.
pregnant.
What's your guys'? We've got like maybe 5 more minutes on the show. What does that date night look like? If your husband's not watching right now, I guarantee it. But if he was watching, what would you tell him you want to do more of? Like, what restaurant do you want to go to more?
Okay, I'm going to argue that.
Okay.
So there's this really great book called His Needs, Her Needs. And it's a Christian book.
It's one page of his needs, like 85 pages of
the chapters go back and forth.
Okay.
And you'd be really surprised the differences in what men and women need. And the second most important thing that men need is recreational companionship.
Oh, yeah.
They need their wife to be willing to do some of those recreational things.
Yeah, my wife golfs with me every Sunday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my husband was on like the Singapore national hockey team. He's super athletic. And so for Valentine's Day, I scheduled a secret 5K. Y'all, I was like secretly running and not telling anybody, which is really hard to pull off.
Sweetest thing
and
ever.
so we ran a 5K. It's like our recreational companionship
cool.
for the week because he loves all the active
So he
stuff.
would love to do more of that.
Yeah, he wants the active stuff.
Okay, I love that.
Yeah.
I got lucky. Laura loved golf before I met her.
Aww,
and so
that's
we go take the girls out to the club every Sunday and we just hang out in the golf cart, 18 holes. She'll play 3 or 4 of them and she just has a blast. It's great.
I saw you take the kids.
Yeah, we take the kids try and do every Sunday. Try to, but then sometimes,
it's important. You need that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yours would go to concerts. That's what. Oh, Brent.
Yeah.
You guys would do more concerts.
Oh yeah. Aaron loves concerts.
That's her thing.
Oh yeah.
What's your thing? Like if you could tell your wife, I wish we did more of this together, what would it be?
I mean, that she doesn't know. I don't. I'm thinking about your recreational thing, and I don't agree with that. For me, I don't need that at all.
She doesn't mean for like female companion. You and I as homies. She's saying like any kind of male or female buddy doing recreational things with you, like working out with the dude.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Y'all are more into like having the companionship. Than
would it
we
be
are.
more time in
Oh,
Flagstaff?
you mean just with anybody?
Yeah, but what? But
because like working out with my wife, I'm like, oh.
Okay, but
you know what I mean?
Nobody
like,
can keep up with you, dude. Look at those arms.
I mean, we just
that's because working out is different for you,
or
right?
hiking's different, and going, sports are different. So with dudes, sure, not with my wife. What would I want? I don't know. I would think we go on dates every week.
What
do you do?
Huh?
What do you do on the date?
Like,
we hook up before we go out. That's
not
a must have.
Before.
Yeah. always.
You're gonna go to sleep after.
Yeah, I mean we're
you're not
getting
young
older.
anymore,
We like chilling in the basement. We like watching some female-led movie of some sort.
Is that what she likes? Or
Yeah.
What you like?
Yeah.
Okay, so then what could be like your recreation thing? Because the book talks about how important it is that your wife becomes your recreational best friend because of the bond that builds with your wife.
I think travel. I think drinking at airport bars. I think walking around with a glass of wine in some cool place. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, something like that.
Like what you did in Tetons.
Yeah, good trip. It's our 10-year anniversary, so we're going back to Italy.
Oh, nice.
And we're planning that whole thing because we got married in Italy. And so we'll spend 9 days.
Just you?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I love that.
That's
So
what
travel,
that's what Wholesale can do
type
for you?
of thing. We're good traveling it with each other. Huh?
That's what Wholesale can do for you.
That's what Wholesale can do for you. That's right.
Heather Blankenship.
I can't believe how much fun this episode was.
This was really great.
This was even though I wish I was there with you guys. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We love you. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you for being the homie. And when you come into town, how can we go watch the episode with Ingrid?
Follow my Instagram and then we'll release it.
Okay, so is it going to go on the YouTube channel, podcasts, or what?
Podcast, Unapologetically Me.
Unapologetically Me. Is this all about RV parks, or is it like female empowerment?
It is like Call Her Daddy meets Cody Sanchez. We were talking about.
Was it pretty raunchy?
We had all the raunchy conversations, even with Ben, as soon as we stopped recording. And I'm like, what? We got to do this again.
You got to tell Ben to just keep recording next time.
Yeah. That's why I was asking you what I could ask Laura.
Oh, ask her anything. She's so foul. It's amazing. I definitely married the right woman for myself for sure. And got really, really lucky in that regard. I get people that will DM me and go, hey, I had a guy DM me and go, will you please tell your wife to calm down? My wife follows her. And it's like, she's like, my wife was offended by some of the jokes she did. I'm like, bro.
What about Laura made you think I could tell her?
I'm like, first off, I'm blocking you. And I'm going to tell my wife to block your lame freaking wife as well. Goodbye. So ask my wife everything.
Okay.
We'll
do it.
All the things. Heather Blankenship, everybody go to heatherblankenship.com if you guys want to learn more about her mastermind. No dudes are allowed.
I teach dudes RV parks.
Okay.
But they don't get to do the fun stuff with us.
Amazing. Guys, we appreciate you. What episode was this?
261.
Love you guys. Later.
See ya.
Or just say squat up.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
What are you doing? I didn't say nothing.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay.
So squat up and enjoy the show.
Cool. I think we should use the one where Jamil doesn't say anything.